Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to continue our look at the rotation and how we're going to deal with it. Today, we are looking at energy denial post-rotation. We've been in a format for a little while now, which is, it's almost kind of had a proud history of stalling decks. We've seen everything from stuff like Magikarp and Wailord with their ha, I've got 300 HP, you can't KO me. We've seen Regigigas, 180 HP but only gives up one prize. Hooper, which cannot be attacked or can't be damaged or have anything done to it by EX or GX Pokemon. Shuckle that says you need to have free energy on to hit it, etc, etc. And one of the things these decks have done is remove energy. And we've still got some options post-rotation, but they're nowhere near as good anyway. So let's start off, as we always do, by looking at what we're losing. And we're losing maybe the best option these decks have had in Plumeria. Plumeria says you must discard 2 cards from your hand, and then you discard 1 energy from one of your opponent's Pokemon. And what is so good about this is that you can discard any energy from any Pokemon on your opponent's side of the field. None of this flip a coin malarkey, active only malarkey, special energy only malarkey. It is just any energy, any Pokemon, gone. It's a bit awkward having to discard 2 cards from your hand, but it is very, very consistent in terms of you get rid of what you want to get rid of. It works. And then, of course, we've got stuff like Palpad and Lusamine. And I've played against a bunch of these decks lately. They get rid of your energy. It's what they do. They're pretty gosh darn good at it. And Plumeria lets them initially get rid of 1 energy per turn, and then when they're having to go Plumeria, Lusamine, at minimum it's 1 every other turn. But it's not the only one we're losing. We're also losing Enhanced Hammer. Now, Enhanced Hammer's not quite as good. Well, I mean, in some ways it is. It's an item card, so play as many as you like. And it's just a straight discard, none of this lose 2 cards from your hand rubbish. But it's only special energy, though it is from anywhere on the field. And what's even worse is that we're losing Kartana GX, which might be a GX Pokemon, but whose ability does the exact same thing. Both of them are gone. It used to be that special energy was kind of super awkward, and you would have to be really clear that if you were going to drop it, you would have to make sure your opponent didn't have a way to get rid of it. Whereas post-rotation, we are not in that situation. They are gone. Now, the only other one we're really losing is not quite so bad. It's Team Skull Grunt. And Team Skull Grunt's a weird one. Now, it has seen play in these stalling decks. It lets you look at your opponent's hand and discard 2 energy cards from it. The problem is, unless you're playing something like Lavender Town or Gumshoes GX, either of which will let you look at your opponent's hand once per turn, you never know if this is going to work. At Bristol Regionals this past weekend, my opponent wasted a turn dropping this when I just had no energy in hand, where they could have dropped something like a Plumeria, or indeed a Lusamine to reuse their Plumeria. And these are good cards that we're losing. So the question is, what good options do we have? And honestly, we don't have many good options. We do, however, have Crushing Hammer. And Crushing Hammer is good. Flip a coin. If heads, discard an energy attached to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Now, interestingly enough, the last print we had of this was in Sun and Moon, which should mean it rotates out, but we got a secret rare in Ultra Prism, and do please remember the rule when it comes to the rotation. If 1 print of it is legal, every print of it is legal. So the fact that the secret rare is legal means it's just legal generally. It would be super awkward if you could only play it if you had the secret rare, and that would also really, really push the price of it up in a very annoying manner. That's not the case, ladies and gentlemen. We're fine. Now, Crushing Hammer is on a coin flip, and that's the big problem with Crushing Hammer. You flip tails, nothing happens. But being an item card also kind of sucks nowadays. Now, we're going to have Oranguru, who can reuse it quite nicely, but we no longer have Puzzle of Time. And it's quite hard to reuse. You play 4, you expect to hit 2, 50-50 chance, and then that's it. If you're playing Oranguru, you can get it back again and again. And I've spoken to a couple of players recently who have said that the worst thing about the game at the moment is Oranguru. Although, ironically, one of them did play it in Bristol and did rather well. And one of the things of Oranguru is it can reuse stuff like Crushing Hammer. You can just keep putting them back in your deck, and if you really want, you can put 3 in a turn. And then you can keep rocking with this. So, Crushing Hammer is not as easy to recover. And it's not as definite as some of the other options we've got. But when you combine it with Oranguru and the fact that it's an item, there is an argument that it's actually worse, better. Really depends on whether you're the person playing it or playing against it. And that's the only really good option we've got post-rotation. Now, we have got Lycanroc GX, that is the Dusk form from Team Up, which, when you play it down, discard an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. It's Team Flare Grunt, which we did lose in the previous rotation. And it's good and it's certain, but okay, then you've got to reuse it. And maybe you play Super Scoop Up and hit a heads, but then we're really back in the whole Crushing Hammer issue. And you can't use Ace Roller, because Ace Roller's rotated. So it's fine for getting rid of a little bit of energy here and there, but I don't know if it's necessarily a long-term solution. And that's about it. Except for Giratina. Now, Giratina's not out yet, but it will be out as the rotation hits. It's coming in Unified Minds. And it's kind of Kartana, but only to the active. So it lets you discard a special energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon, which makes it objectively worse than Kartana if we just look at the ability. But then we could also look and go, well, hang on a second. It's a single prize Pokemon, so it's not a 2-prize liability like Kartana is, so in that respect there is a little bit of an advantage. And that really is it post-rotation. Crushing Hammer, Lycanroc, Giratina. Now, there are a couple of bad options, and I don't think they're particularly tasty, if I'm honest with you. So, we've got Wait and See Hammer. Now, Wait and See Hammer is fine on your first turn going second. If you go second on your first turn of the game, you can discard an energy attached to one of your opponent's Pokemon. After that, it literally does nothing. It is only good on that one particular turn, and if you go first, it's just a dead card generally. However, there is another card we can use really nicely with this. And by we, I mean Japan, because it's a promo card that has not made it out over here. There is an Alolan Meowth who's got a really nice ability that allows you to discard a Wait and See Hammer from your hand once during your turn and draw 2 cards. Now, as it stands at the moment, this has not been released. And I don't think you can play Wait and See Hammer. Maybe one copy if you're playing something like Red's Challenge where it's easily searched. Outside of that, and even then I don't think you really want to. Outside of that, I don't think you can play it. But when we get this Meowth, and even the Japanese promos that take a while, we generally get them eventually. At that stage, I think maybe you can afford to play this, because with Meowth it becomes a little bit of a draw engine. We've then got a whole bunch of Pokemon, maybe the best of which is Pyroar. And that is Pokemon that discard energy as their attack, but generally don't do a huge amount of damage. Now, I'm talking about the Pyroar from Lost Thunder. It's fine. Double colourless energy, but remember double colourless energy is rotating out, so it's 2 energy. 30 damage, automatic discard. Some attacks discard on a coin flip, etc. This is automatic discard. I just don't think it's good enough. We're in a format at the moment with stuff like Welder and Malamar and Pikachu and Zekrom. And there's just too many ways to accelerate energy. I don't think it is good enough. And I don't think any others are, because I think this is the best of them. And then we've got Fearow. And look, I ain't going to sit here and tell you that I actually think Fearow is a genuinely good, viable card. I don't. However, flip a coin if heads, discard 2 energy from your opponent's active. While doing 70 damage on a stage 1, now it's flippy and we're losing Victini, so you're not going to be able to do the whole re-flipping thing. But this might be, if you really want to go for an attack, this might be a fun option. And then we've got a few Pokemon that can automatically discard a special energy when it attacks. If you want a lightning Pokemon, might I suggest a bit of the old Zera Aura? Or that's the one that just came out in Unbroken Bonds. Or we've got the Evil that came around quite recently in Team Up. Or indeed, we've got Sceptile GX. And I don't know if any of these are particularly great options, but if you just want to discard special energy, they have got your back. We are really missing out on energy denial post-rotation. We're just losing our best options. And as I've shown you in this video, there are a few options remaining, but make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen, they aren't particularly good. Sad, right? But I'd like to know what your favourite option is. I'd like to know what you think about energy denial post-rotation. Do you think it's good? What options have we got? Which ones are you going to be using? Go nuts in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen, but please do remember the rule. Be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WasiPlays, where we talk about games that don't have Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.